Welcome to it, sports fans. It is Friday. Fantastic Friday. Man, middle of August, huh? Still nippy in Joburg, but I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt today. So it's getting there. It's getting there. For those of you that are summer babies, we're nearly there. We're expecting, of course, our president to join us over the next 2 days. Who knows? Level 2, maybe in the waiting. Who knows? And for those of you who are wondering what's happening tonight, Champions League football, of course, a huge game. Cannot wait for that. Really looking forward to it. I'm going to tell you who my 5 greatest coaches are. Of course, it's Friday, the Friday 5. It's the only way to do it. Really looking forward to that. By the way, big show Monday. We have we'll have a special guest, a viewer, and Woude will be back. Woude Muller, of course, will be back, and they will wrap up Super Rugby Aotearoa. Of course, New Zealand will wrap up this weekend. I believe it's still in discussions. Not too sure whether they've cancelled this weekend's matches or not. I haven't seen any updates all day. So looking forward to having Woude in, and we have a special guest. Looking forward to that special guest and viewer on Tuesday as well. So that's fun. Always really, really appreciate everybody that watches. So everybody who watches, thank you so, so much. Without you, really, it would be like being in a mental asylum, just talking to myself. And that would be crazy. And some people might say I'm crazy. But anyway, tonight, Friday 5, we'll get straight into it. It's me, David LaRue. We'll be carrying you through, and then we'll go Q&A as well, following the first segment, the Friday 5. Ladies and gentlemen, as we do every single Friday. Dave, let's get to it. Can I get that music, please? Yeah, there we go. Listen, the greatest of all time. I'm going to start at number 5. This guy's phenomenal because of what he did in terms of the different eras. He was really a München legend in the 80s or 70s, 80s, a German legend, an absolute legend player, right? At number 5, ladies and gentlemen, he's just phenomenal, right? Jupp Heynckes is just phenomenal. For me, he's the 5th greatest manager to ever live, by the way. I'm saying all time. He's an all-timer. 4 league titles. We're talking almost 30 years ago. He won his first title. The toughest thing in life is to reinvent yourself. This guy's incredible, right? He came back to the Bundesliga, that great side, Arjen Robben. What does Arjen Robben go and do? Run it back. You're 2013, right? And he's done the special one. Not many managers do this. The treble. 4 league titles, an absolute titan. The toughest thing in life to do is to reinvent yourself. Almost 30 years apart. Quite incredible. At number 5, the legendary Jupp Heynckes. At number 4, so listen, this guy, the great thing about him is he's done it everywhere. The one criticism about him, and it's that he doesn't win enough league titles. That's my only criticism of him. Other than that, he's absolutely legendary. He built an incredible AC Milan team. He was one of the greatest players of all time and went on to take league as a player and of course as a manager. At number 4, Carlo Ancelotti. Listen, I absolutely love the brow Liga, and he's done the other special himself from the pack, separates him from the pack. He's won 3 Champions League titles. That makes you special. That is the 2nd biggest trophy in the world after the Premier League. At number 4, the one and only, the brow, Carlo Ancelotti, an absolute great. At number 3, listen, he came from Glasgow and changed the face of British football forevermore. Absolutely changed it forevermore. He's famous for saying, Liverpool, we are here to knock them off their perch. An absolute titan for what he did with Aberdeen. He came over from Glasgow. He changed it for Manchester United. He took Manchester United from struggling, sort of flagging. They were no longer Busby's babes. They were absolutely floundering. He came in the late 80s, 90s, and it was different. It was different. Nearly saved really in an FA Cup game by a last-minute win, and the rest is glorious history. At number 3, now knighted, 1999 treble winner and absolute king of Glasgow. 13 major titles. I don't count the Scottish League title as major. For me, the greatest Britain's ever had, and it's not close. 2 Champions League titles, and of course, that tremendous, tremendous night. You'll see the shirt I'm wearing. It broke my heart that night. One of my favorite players, Stefan Edberg, in that game. Absolutely heartbreaking. Effenberg, heartbroken. Lothar Matthäus and co. I just love that club. 99, they broke our hearts. Treble champion. He went three-peat, by the way, twice in the Premier League. People might say he's the absolute greatest. How can you have 13 titles? I don't make him the greatest manager. Listen, he still outspent everybody in those first 10 years. Everybody criticizes other managers to say it's a one-horse race in every league. He had that for 10 years. He had the biggest budget by tenfold for 10 years. So please, let's not give too much credit where it's not due. He's a genius. He's a genius. Sir Alex Ferguson is an absolute genius. But he really had, the walk for a decade. It was his financially. Nobody was close. So Alex Ferguson at number 3, a Titan, Britain's greatest. At number 2, and the reason these two guys are ahead of him is he had his chance to dethrone them. This guy came from Portugal, and what he did was Fergie had his chance to beat this guy and humble him. And early on, Porter the season before did the Smolanyana treble. Not the real treble, the Smolanyana treble. That was with Porter. The next year, what did he do? He went on to do the double. He went and won the Champions League, and we remember the famous night at Old Trafford. Fergie had his chance. Mourinho went all the way down the line. Ladies and gentlemen, at number 2, the great Jose Mourinho. 8 major titles. Ability to reinvent himself again. Portugal, he won. Premier League, he's done it 3 times. Serie A, he made history. Nobody in Serie A has ever done the treble. Ever done the treble. He went to La Liga, dethroned the man that'll be, the greatest football team of all time in 11-12. That was sensational. Those goals he took, it didn't work with Ronaldo in the end, but my God, look at that. 8 major titles across Europe. There's no doubting that Fergie had his chance to beat him. Fergie twice in the Champions League. Don't forget that. You remember Fergie ranting and running off in that retirement season? This guy right here. So Fergie had his chance to beat Mourinho twice and settle this thing. The beauty of sport is face to face, you get to settle who's the king. Mourinho's gone all across Europe. He is the king. And he's done the impossible. Serie A. 09-10. I'm the king. The treble with Inter Milan. Forza Inter at number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Jose Mourinho. At number 1, I don't think there's a contest. He shaped what ultimately is by far, the greatest football team of all time. They shaped the Spanish team to go on and be historic in 2010. Fortunate enough to be at that World Cup final, and then what they did at Euros. I'm sorry, but if Johan Cruyff was the beginning, right, this guy was 2.0 and the perfection. If Cruyff was the key, this man was the engine. I've said it before, you can start a car and go without a key, because you can really hotwire a car. If you're smart enough, you can get a car going. No engine, no go. He is quite simply unstoppable. He's reinvented football. There's a great video of Thierry Henry explaining to him what the demands were at Barcelona against this guy. Henry said he really went for a PhD lesson there. Ladies and gentlemen, at number 1, it's not a contest. There's nobody in his league ever. And by the way, it's worked everywhere. Everybody said, it works only at Barcelona. He came to England and absolutely destroyed the league. The reason these two gentlemen are ahead of Fergie, let me tell you why, is this is the most competitive time in the history of football. They said he couldn't come to England and do it. Not only did he come to England, he got triple figure. It was his own way for 15 years. Before Abramovich, it was easy. Before Wenger, it was easy. Never got close to 100 points. This guy came, don't give me the money thing. Manchester United have outspent everybody in the league until the Russian money, and then, of course, City have come in. Pep Guardiola is unmatched. Versatile, 3-4-3, 4-3-3, 4-4-2, change the face of football forevermore. No other manager on this list. Jose Mourinho's had the greatest defense in the toughest league ever. But look at that. 08, 09, 9, 10, 10, 11. La Liga. Bundesliga. Went 3 in a row. The Premier League, he did 2 in a row and record. The best side, and he's swept the whole league. Won everything locally. Nobody's ever done that. Can't work. They say, Pep, it'll never work. Tiki-taka will never work in England. It's a different league. He did the treble. He's special. He did the treble with the best football in the world. And don't tell me that it was because he had Leo Messi. I've always said this. It's harder to coach great players. It's not easier. It's harder to coach great players. The expectations when you have Leo Messi, as we've seen post-Pep, are through the roof and nigh on impossible to match. Right? Great players test coaches because they can do everything. Are you flexible enough to put me in positions to win? Because don't you worry, I can get in positions to set us up to win. It's been impossible. It's never been the same since Pep left. Pep Guardiola, the greatest of all time. No competition for me. The great Pep Guardiola. Makes me sick as a Madrid fan. Makes me sick as a Chelsea fan. But my God, this guy's special. And he's not done. He's nowhere near done. Because I think the City thing is set up for him. It's like Barcelona 2.0. It's Barcelona without all the drama in the upstairs. Remember, they set up Man City for him 2 seasons before he came. You started seeing, here's all the old Barcelona guys. They're setting it up. You saw what they were doing with the training complex. Look at the players coming out of City now. Foden's the next one. Pep Guardiola, unmatched, unrivaled, the greatest manager of all time. Dave, give me that top 5 list again. I want to go through it. Look, I know people, if we got Liverpool fans, you probably want to go Shankly. You probably want to go something in the 70s, 80s. No, get out of here with that. Those were part-timers. It's real now. There's analytics. Heineken reinvented himself 30 years later. I'll come back. No worry. Don't worry about it. We'll go treble as well. Mourinho. He came, he conquered. He conquered Fergie twice in Europe, and he really destabilized the 2 greatest dynasties probably in European football history. Took Barcelona off their perch, took Fergie off his perch as he arrived. Best defense Premier League's ever seen, toughest league. Alex Ferguson, well, he's Fergie, 13 titles, and British football's never seen anything like him. And he did knock Liverpool off their perch, by the way. Carlo Ancelotti, has there been a better one? 3 Champions Leagues. Probably the best European manager we've ever seen. Not probably, it's a lot. Carlo Ancelotti is the best Champions League and probably Cup manager we've ever seen. Not enough to get him in the top 3 though, and at number 5, Joop's just it's been different class. And Joop makes my list purely because anybody who can reinvent themselves in life, as we get older, we become rigid. 25, 30 years apart, to come back and reinvent Munchen, take them back to where they belong, quite brilliant. Quite brilliant. That's my top 5 list. I'd love to know what people think. Really looking forward to seeing any responses because we've got Q&A tonight. So looking forward to taking any and all questions about this. That is the Friday 5. If you've got any Friday 5 ideas, you'd like to hear my list and opinion on anything, by the way, sport@cliffcentral.com. Email your ideas, your opinions. I'm happy to read emails on here. Sport@cliffcentral.com. That is my Friday 5 greatest managers of all time. Unrivaled, unmatched, the greatest of all time. Right, as I mentioned, we're going to do a Q&A. So we'll be back in a little bit. Q&A, really, really looking forward to that. Alrighty, we are back. By the way, huge Champions League night tonight. I just cannot wait for that game. Love to know what do people think at home. I'll give my prediction, I think, at the end, but really, really looking forward to hearing what people think tonight. It is the big one. It is Leo Messi's big test. Can he stop the machine? Because they are a machine this year. Munchen, they are back. That really is the Mannschaft. That is the team. They are the team. Mia San Mia, they say, we are who we are. Munchen, looking forward to it. All right, Dave, let's get into the questions and let's see what our listeners at home have got. Senzo Stebe is saying, if you add other teams, it dilutes the product. If the Kiwis and the Aussies combine, the standard will drop. Also, I think the Kiwis are playing hard because it's direct competition for all black places. That reference is, I think, if in the rugby, Super Rugby, should Australia and New Zealand mix? Should New Zealand kind of dilute their product? Senzo, I couldn't agree more. I think there's an obsession with quantity. For me, I'm all about quality in life. Give me quality anytime. The NFL is the model. The Premier League's the model. It's shave the teams, right? Stop diluting it. If we can get quality, I mean, if you are able to get 10 quality teams, great. But Australia doesn't have one quality team. Australia needs to shave down to probably 2 teams for me. 2 teams, 3 teams at a stretch. At a stretch, they can't get their 5-star athletes to play rugby. AFL's taking all of the 5-star guys. League's taking the second tier 5-star guys. Swimming takes the next tier. Cricket takes the next tier. They're 5-star athletes. I mean, by the time you get to the rugby players, you're really dealing with 1- and 2-star recruits if you watch college football. Senzo, I could not agree more. And I think South Africa's made that mistake as well. Currie Cup should be 6 at most. It should be 6 at most. The rest is Vodacom Cup and Varsity Cup rugby. It's professional. Look, it's another thing. It's like baseball. Too many teams. I think basketball has too many teams. It's why they'll never be the NFL. NFL's got 32 teams, but I tell you what the difference is there. Everyone's got a billionaire owner. And listen, no matter where you are in America, it's a religion. That's the game. But the beauty of it is 16 games and every game matters. There's no urgency in rugby. Less games, more quality. And let's get on with this thing. Let's not dilute the product. I totally agree with you. I think rugby's still a sport rather than a product. It is amateur. They need to get with it. Senzo, great point. David, what you got for me? The Rig says, are players getting too soft and protected? The breakdown has become touch rugby. Is that what we want to watch? Personally, I do think we're at a crossroads. We had Professor Ross Tucker, of course, who's hugely involved. He's not necessarily making the rules by himself, but he's massively involved in the whole process of rugby getting safer as a sport. Now, you can never make something like rugby absolutely safe. And I think that's tough for people to hear because what we want really is for mums and dads to let their kids play rugby, right? That's the problem. Is if you say that, is that there's no ways to safe-proof rugby. It's huge people running into each other at faster and faster speeds. It's just, you can't make it safe. It's not possible to make rugby absolutely safe. My personal opinion is if you take the brutality out of rugby, you take the essence out of it. And I think we've kind of seen it with T20 cricket, if you want to use an analogy, is the skill factor in T20 is actually a little bit lower because the skill factor in cricket is to be able to perform all cricket skills for a long period of time. We understand that. That's when the skill comes in. When you're fatigued, will you leave that outswinger outside off? In T20 cricket, I mean, Richard Levy's one of the greatest. David Miller's one of the greatest. But he can't bat a session. So I think it's very clear where the skillful players are. It's Test cricket and ODI is shaky, right? I feel like they're watered down products of the real skill factor. So for me, and the essence of cricket, right? The essence of rugby is, I'm afraid it's a warrior sport. It's a warrior sport. And it's terrible to use a war analogy, but often warriors die out in the field. So I wonder if you remove that aspect of rugby, what happens then? Let's make it safe. But there's a line. And if you remove the brutality, if you remove the hits, if you remove the cleaning, I don't know if you can keep people, because UFC is real. It's here now. There's a reason to that. I'm not a psychologist, but people seem to love brutality. Don't they? Boxing's growing. It's not shrinking. That's a growing sport. UFC has seen growth like, oh my goodness. Rugby, I'm afraid you cannot make it absolutely safe. We'll try and make it as safe as possible. I do think it's becoming a little bit soft. I do. And I'm one of the people that says, listen, I'm happy that the techniques are improving. I'm happy that science is getting better, because I don't want to see guys hobbling at 40. But it's only so preventable. Huge people running into each other at tremendous speed. Dave, what we got? Senzo Sitebe says, Neymar is afraid of responsibility. That's why he crumbles at Brazil and why he left at Barca. He wants it easy. So I can't disagree with that. You know, my problem with it is, in life, if you want all of the glory. So Neymar clearly wants to be the guy. He left Barcelona. Part of the thing is this. If you want all the glory, then you have to be willing to take all of the bad stuff as well. So you're always on. The thing about Leo Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, you know what makes them great? It's not that they've won all the time. There's lots of people who win. Lots of people are successful, hugely successful. Is when you think of Ronaldo and Messi, it's when the criticism comes. How do they handle it? How do those two handle it? They shut their mouths, they get on the field, they play. Now, the problem with Neymar is I'm getting a lot of stuff on social media. I'm getting a lot of stories. I'm getting models in hotel rooms. That's a problem for me. That's a problem for me, because also you made the promise of, I want to leave. I want my own team. You've done nothing. And he's always injured. Never available. I'm afraid availability is the greatest ability. It is my gospel. And there's an element to say, is football the most important thing to him? I watched 7-1 without you. I watched you get injured for 2 World Cups. I watched that happen. People are going to say I'm lucky. Listen, don't come with that. Because if you want to be the man in life, you want to be the woman, you want to be the person, the guy we rely on. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear excuses. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Listen, you can give me solutions, or you can give me excuses. One of those gets you fired. Neymar, the whole Brazil thing hasn't worked. And Brazil have fallen into the trap. I think post-Cafu, it's almost been impossible, right? Is they've fallen into the trap of making the best player the captain. And that's a huge problem, because the Selecao, listen, they're going to be commercially probably the biggest team outside of England, commercially all the time. You don't need to make Neymar the captain. You don't need him to be you don't need to do this. And he's already shown me, it matters to me how you behave off the pitch. It really, really matters. It matters to me. And when I see videos in hotel rooms and people are coming out and there's that stuff, I just can't do it. Not if you want to be the leader. And then you cry and whinge and say the world's against you when you lose. Well, don't give us the reason to do that. Leo Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, on the game. On the game, 24/7. They understand the clock's always ticking. Neymar wants it on his own thing. Listen, leadership's not about when things are going well. I mean, you listen to all the people that lead in war. Anyone can lead when it's hunky-dory. Anyone can lead when it's hunky-dory. I'm out. And Julian says, lol, so we blame him for getting injured. You know what, Julian? There comes a time in life when you've got to say this. Cristiano Ronaldo getting not injured or staying fit, that's not a mistake. I honestly believe that Neymar doesn't put football first. Right? He doesn't put football first, and I've seen the lifestyle. Now, that may just be me maybe not liking that kind of player. Is Cristiano Ronaldo 24/7, I'm in the gym. You can see it. Some people put themselves in the best position not to be injured. Listen, in life, I'm happy for people to make excuses, but then don't be in leadership. Right? Is do everything you can do. Don't give us any room to criticize you. And you know how you do that? You look like Cristiano Ronaldo. You're Leo Messi. right? Because I can't deal with the excuse of I was injured. All right, but then you're not useful to me. Tell me, we all work. We all work. You're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. You tell your boss, I'm sick. Trust me. You start doing it because football is just a job. You tell your boss you're sick 8 times a year and you miss your targets, your sales targets. You tell me what they're going to say. Oh, sorry, you were sick. I'm sure. We all work here. There's a time when, I'm sorry, you have to draw a line and say, does this guy put football first? Part of keeping your body in shape. I'm sorry. I've seen too much. You're about that life. If you're going to be about that life, you're creating the room for me to say, could he have prevented those injuries by being on it? Because I don't see Cristiano Ronaldo in the club. Samba. I don't see it. Maybe he does. I don't see it. And then I look at his body of work and I go, my God, 5 Ballon d'Ors. Wow. Never injured. Wow. And listen, the one in the back, okay. But let me tell you something. There's been a lot of soft tissue stuff that's completely preventable. Completely preventable. So I know people love Neymar, but do me one. Senzo, I could not agree more. And the thing about leadership, let me just say it one more time. If you want to be in leadership, I'm out on excuses. You have 0 excuses. It's always your fault. Remember, in life, if you want to lead, it's always your fault. Because where does the buck stop? And Neymar chose this. Nobody said he had to leave Barcelona. You could have stayed in the safe haven under Leo Messi. Now the wolves will come for you. I'm sorry. You want to lead? So yes, I do blame Neymar for being injured, by the way. That's a long way of telling you, absolutely I do. He's not committed to the game, and then he wants to go and lead. I'm out. And I don't think they'll win the Champions League, by the way. I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think they've got a problem there between him and Mbappe, but a subject for another time. All right, Dave, what you got for me? Woude Muller says, don't understand how Fergie is criticized and marked down for spending and then outranked by guys who managed monopolies. Woude Muller says that. Senzo says, Pep has outspent everyone in Germany and in England. Come on. Excellent. Great points that you're making them. So here's my thing. When Fergie was outspending everybody on the planet for 10 years, so not just in England, let's be very clear. Manchester United were outspending everyone on the planet because the Premier League, right, was ahead of the curve for 10 years. So in the 90s, when they were walking, I mean, the league was really over by December. How many Champions League titles? Right? So I want people to tell me how many Champions League titles and finals and great achievements when Man United were the Man City of the day. Because there's this kind of mythology that Fergie was this genius who never spent anything. It's nonsense. So when he had his time to be Pep Guardiola, and you've got the most money by a long way, the Premier League changed everything. And Fergie had he was the cock of the walk, as they say, for 10 years. Where's the Champions League titles? Where are they? What do I do about that? I saw that. And to be quite frank, people criticize Germany, Spain, Italy for being one-horse races now. That's what the Champions League was for the Premier League was for the first 10 years. If he is this god, what happened in the Champions League? So I can't go. I'm afraid I can't go with that. And so the outspending thing, Fergie had his chance and couldn't deliver. So I'm not going to criticize these guys. Plus, here's the thing. Mourinho and Pep came when it was the best in the world are in the Premier League now. So it's not like Man City are spending and there's no Chelsea and there's no Man United and that's not true. And also don't make it sound like Man United aren't matching the spending that's going on at Man City. And Pep is so far ahead, it's ridiculous. And if it's just about spending, Man United have just spent £350 million over the last 2 seasons. Liverpool have spent like basically half that if you're looking at the net spend, and they're 40 points ahead of Man United. Do me a favor. If it's just about spending, come on now. So Fergie essentially was the Bayern Munich of the Premier League and won 1 Champions League. I don't know what to do about that. So let's not get too biased. And, we all look at the past and we always remember the good things. Fergie had it really good for 10 years. And this is not anti-United bias. If you don't believe what I'm saying, go and look at the spending from when Fergie got there to 2000. No one in Europe's close. No one in Europe is close. Europe, not just England. No one in Europe's close. No Champions League. That's my point on Fergie. Jose Mourinho. Look, Mourinho, and in fact, he had his chance to stop Mourinho and Pep. Pep beat him twice. So you had your chance head to head. I'm sorry, if you can't beat him once, all right. Twice, it's a wrap. I'm sorry, it's a wrap. Wayne Lewis says Zidane is better than Ancelotti. That's a tough one because I think my only problem there is he doesn't win enough. Zidane hasn't won as many league titles. And I'll always say it's harder to win league titles than the Champions League. The only way I look at that is that I've seen Monaco versus Porto in the final. I've seen clubs like this go and win it. Chelsea came 5th in the league and won the Champions League. So it's much easier to win. It's much easier to win cup tournaments, I'm afraid. So for me, Zidane, maybe win a few more league titles because Ancelotti's got 4. Let's be very clear. He's gone around the world, and I mean, listen, he won 3 in a row as well. Did Zidane, and Zidane wins 1 more. I think then he separates himself. So let's have a look, see whether he can win more league titles. That's my other criticism of Zizou. I think this season was brilliant for his legacy. Not too sure if he's better than Ancelotti, though. The Rig says, Jurgen Klopp, the new king of the cup. Of the cup. Either way it works. No, Jurgen Klopp, no. 1 Champions League title and really, 3 league titles in his whole career? That's not going to work. He's only won, and he's lost so many finals. So I'm going to need Jurgen Klopp to maybe pitch up to more finals. And also, greatness is your ability to do things others haven't. If he defends the league with Liverpool, that's a whole different animal. Right? Winning the league, Leicester won the league. I saw that happen. I saw Blackburn win the league. Great teams. You want to be great. You want to be in this conversation. You got to defend league titles. You got to be Carlo Ancelotti and win 3 Champions League titles, because then that separates you, right? Great is you must be separate. There must be something about you that's different. Mourinho has defended titles everywhere. He's done doubles in Italy. That was an incredibly difficult time. He's won the only man in Serie A to win the treble. So you look at that. That's like, oh, okay, you're different. You go and dethrone Pep Guardiola, that great Barcelona team, at their pomp. Okay, you're different. So you have to do something special. Klopp won Champions League and lost too many finals, quite frankly. If Liverpool defend it, then we're starting to have a conversation. I'm afraid not now. Not now. He's not even close to being in the conversation. Stephen Brooks puts gaming first. Hey, Stephen, by the way, if it is the correct Stephen Brooks, I know he's a huge Leeds fan. Welcome back. I can't wait to have Ellen Road be back in the Premier League. I hope they allow the fans by then. I don't hate Neymar. I don't hate Neymar. But if you're that guy, all you do is open room for us to ask questions when things go wrong. And I think, when he was at Barcelona, maybe he was still doing this. But then you had leadership, right? You had Iniesta. You had in the background the Puyols, the Valdez, the core, and then they kind of plaster over him doing that. And remember, he was injured at Barcelona as well every now and then. No problem. You got a bit of quality around when he wasn't the guy. Some people, right? Big fish, small pond works. Because when you're Ronaldo, when you're Messi, I'm the biggest fish in every pond. For me, there is no pond big enough. Now, Neymar goes and he starts to realize, oh no, the clock's always on when you're the guy. And I was sitting with somebody this morning. I wonder if Neymar's having another problem, is all he's ever wanted is his own team. But now he's at PSG. There's still that talk. Hey, there's a guy who went and won a World Cup at 19. People say it's his team. Right? So you really were second to Messi, and now it looks like, because Mbappe takes football seriously. Unless there's something I haven't read or seen, there's no nonsense off the field, and he's 21. That's just a character thing. That's a self-awareness thing. Now, I have my concerns about Mbappe. I think the injuries, the rule in sport, you start getting injured when you're young. You're always injured. You saw it with Michael Owen, it was a disaster. Rafael Morrison, it was a disaster. If you're injured young, it never works late, especially explosive players. So I hope they haven't worn him out like Michael Owen. But listen, Neymar's, I agree. I think he likes to act and play the fool far too much if he wants to be a leader. Maybe he's just about a good time. And I don't resent the money. Listen, he must get all of the monies. Get all of the monies. But if we're going to have conversations about you being a leader, about you being great, people were saying he was great the other night against Atalanta, as though he was playing against Arrigo Sacchi's AC Milan. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Dribbling on the halfway line doesn't make you great. Missing 4 sitters doesn't make you great. Mbappe comes on, different game. That's greatness. The Rig says, have you been following the England-Pakistan test? I have not. I saw 206, I think, all out. It's been a rather busy week for me. But great to have Test cricket back. Listen, if you're a cricket fan, of course, we are, it's just great to have Test cricket back. And you know what I love is that Test cricket has shown that it can withstand anything without fans. I just like, we're absorbed into the contest. If you're like me, I was absorbed against the West Indies. Didn't need the fans. IPL, I think they've done well to take it to Dubai. I think there'll be allowed fans there. We've seen what Dana White's done with Fight Island. So I haven't been following the cricket, but this weekend I will certainly catch up on everything. It looks like that test is great. 220 for 9. My goodness, is that England's reply? Whew. Tough stuff. So that's going to be a great test. I've got a great weekend coming up. I've got football. I've got Champions League tonight. I've got, there's mediocre teams playing Europa League this weekend. All the small teams are playing Europa League. Good luck to all of the small teams doing that. Really looking forward to seeing the sort of mid-table and support staff playing Europa League this weekend. I'll watch because it's getting to the business end now. NBA this weekend. Of course, Damian Lillard's doing his thing, so it's going to be absolutely great. I'll be watching the Test cricket, though. Was that the Rig who said that? Can't wait. I'll update Monday. Cannot wait. What you got for me, David? Senzo says, best heavyweight boxer you have ever seen. I was around for Ali. I would presume that means I wasn't around for Ali. So in my opinion, Lennox Lewis. Hey, Senzo, let me tell you, I was at Lennox Lewis, right, when he got beaten by Hasim Rahman, and then he turned around. He got off the mat. Well, he got off the mat in the next fight, and of course defended it. I have to agree, because I think he beat the greatest pool of heavyweights. They were all the greatest pool of heavyweights. By the way, I've been watching boxing since I was 5. I'm a closer guy in closer culture. It's really like a pasture thing, right? Is you got to walk that to really be considered a real man. Is boxing's our game. Boxing and rugby for closer people. I think Lennox Lewis is the best heavyweight of all time, because you've never seen that pool of quality around at the same time. If anything, Ali's problem was he didn't have enough people to fight. It wasn't his quality. And then, of course, his best years got taken away from him because he wouldn't go to Vietnam, but that's a whole different thing. So I have to agree. I think Lennox Lewis, just in terms of all-round ability, the great thing about him is distance control, footwork, nasty power, nasty, that Jamaican hammer as well in the fist. Jamaican born or Jamaican heritage, Lennox Lewis, an absolute juggernaut, and kept the title forever, it felt like. Right? So the quality of competition in your era matters. Right? It matters, and he's the greatest. Boring as hell, but he's the greatest. Better than Klitschko. Klitschko had no competition. Dave, what we got? And I saw somebody said Tyson Fury. He's got to do a bit more. Hasn't fought enough quality, beat Klitschko, and hasn't beaten anyone else of quality. Senzo Sitebe says, Pep has been spending buckets since he left Barca, and guess what? 0 Champions League. Fair enough. I listen, that is a fair criticism. But he came to the toughest place to win. I'll still echo this. It's harder to win the English Premier League than it is to win the Champions League. It just is. There's more luck in winning the Champions League, really, than winning the league. Because the beauty of the Premier League is that it's 38 games. It is unbelievable quality from top to bottom, and it's week in, week out. And we've seen now, especially with Liverpool and City, we've never seen a competition like this. It's almost NFL-like, right? Is now, if you lose a game, it's catastrophic. There's never been a time in the Premier League that it's been that. There's never been a time. So I think there is an argument to say, I'd prefer to judge people off the league, first and foremost. 38 tells me more than 10, 15 games. I'm sorry. You know, you're a number one seed, you get an easy group, you know, and then you get through that, and you really get the home draw. Come on now. The Champions League is awesome, but it's not harder than the Premier League. So I agree with you, but then you might say, like I said to you, what happened to Fergie then in those times where he was outspending the world? Pep's just outspending really England now, and Madrid are up there with the spending. Then there's a couple more, PSG. So you might say Pep's actually not outspending the world. There's 4 or 5 that are spending huge. Now it's a different market. So if you're going to argue for Fergie, you can't have it both ways. Either Fergie must be punished for those 10 years where nothing happened and you were spending the most in the world, or Pep must be given leeway to say, okay, City are here now, right? But then so are Chelsea, so are Man United, right? So is Mourinho. Mourinho's been spending wherever he's been as well. So are Real Madrid. Madrid are real. Barcelona, they've broken the mold. They spend. PSG, Ancelotti, he's spent. People spend. And Man United is the example. Spending isn't the be all and end all, right? I don't really take the money makes managers win, because we've seen that Man United has spent it. I mean, give me the numbers. I don't even want to know. It's probably been 600-700 million since Fergie left that United has spent. More. It must be more than that. They spent 100 million on Pogba alone. 600-700 million, let's say. They've been mid-table since Fergie left. So don't give me the spending thing. You spend and then you mold. Right? Unless I'm wrong. You spend and you must still mold. Because we could sit here all day and go through managers that have spent 300, 400,000, 400 million. Look at Barcelona. It's been a mess. They've got Dembele 100 mil. They got Griezmann now, basically another 100 mil. They spent ridiculous amounts on Umtiti. Look, it's ridiculous. Rakitic, big numbers. And they've been nowhere. So let's be fair. Everybody is doing it now. Everybody's at it. I'm not going to blame Pep for coming to England and revolutionizing and completely changing the face of the league. Fergie outspent everybody, changed the face of the league. Right? Mourinho came. He outspent everybody, changed the face of the league. Pep must be given his credit. And I'm a Mourinho guy, by the way. I'm a Chelsea fan. But Pep's taken it to another level. That's the final level. I'm sorry. And then he comes and sweeps as well. All the trophies in one season. Come on, guys. In the toughest place to play football. Champions League's not the toughest. It's the second biggest trophy in the world. Dave, what you got for me? Wayne Luber says, Lomachenko, best currently pound for pound fighter. It's not close. He gets you the Loma, gets you in the Matrix, and it's all over. I thought Luke Campbell was incredible in the last fight because he got caught on the button on the ribs. And listen, Campbell 10 and 11th round, if you haven't seen that fight, go watch. It's really worth it because both guys, and the great thing about Loma, because of his distance control, once he gets you in the Matrix, is it's all about range and boxing. And with his footwork, he's on the fringe at all times. He enters the sort of the red zone where you can hit him, but the head movements and feet are 3-4 levels above. So he's in, out, jab, 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 and it's good night. I'm out, I'm around. You know, he's working you, he's hunting you down, he's cutting angles. It's not close. It's not close. And I think his countryman might be the second. Usyk is probably the second best pound for pound fighter in the world. Not probably. He is the second pound for pound. We'll see whether he can do it at heavyweight. What he did to Tony Bellew was embarrassing. Because Bellew was really, I mean, they fought they could have fought at heavyweight. But what he did to him at cruiserweight was, and Bellew was it, right? He was world champ. Usyk is, oh, my God, it's like watching a lightweight with a hammer, right? Southpaw, incredible power in the movement. An artist. Usyk is an absolute artist. But no one's close. Lomachenko by a country mile. And if you haven't seen Lomachenko, do yourself a favor. Just Google Lomachenko Matrix and enjoy. The rig, you keep talking about the treble, but we all know it's about the bass. Touche. Can't live without the bass, the rig. Damn right. Damn right. Jesse Randolph says, why do you say the game is more competitive now? I think it was more competitive, more tough back in the day to when there wasn't so much technology. It was a skill to play on an awful pitch. Interesting one. I think, look, Jesse, we have to be honest. So it's like in any sport now. The players are simply better because by the time guys are 17 or 18, they've already done what they call the 10,000 hours. So the skill levels of everybody, the base skill level across the board now is unrivaled because the academies, the kids are doing hours. Kids are professional by 10 years old now, if you're good enough. So no matter how good you were back in the day, you could have been playing against guys that really should be milkmen at centre-back for top teams. I'm afraid. So the pitch thing doesn't fly with me is everyone's better across the board. What it means is instead of now Arrigo Sacchi's AC Milan dominating, you probably never see that again. You'll never see Ajax again. You'll never see Liverpool in the 70s again. You're not going to see that. What does that tell you? I mean, just, in fact, the Premier League's the best example of parity. It's almost like the NFL. Is look how many winners there's been since Roman Abramovich came. Right? It's better now. It's not monopolized. If you look at football before Roman Abramovich, it's Arsenal, and then it's really just Manchester United, and then the 20 years before that, it's just Liverpool. So it's better purely by the statistical thing of more people win. So surely that means the standard's higher. Right? Because look at the winners. Arsenal won. Right? Okay, well, Mourinho's here now. Chelsea won. United won again. Right? Leicester went and won. Right? Man City went and won. I think in Italy, it's been 9 years. I stand to be corrected. This was the 9th year of Juventus winning the league. That's no good. And back in the day, in terms of the quality of the guys playing on those pitches, I don't know. But no, the players are much better now. The diets are better now. They're fitter now. They're stronger now. You look at Cristiano Ronaldo. Could you imagine him playing against teams in the 80s? By the way, he's strong enough to ride tackles. Then Leo Messi, everyone's trying to hack him like it's the 70s now. Some people have forgotten just how good Leo Messi is, right? Everybody looks at Maradona's goal against England and goes, oh my God, that's the greatest goal ever. Leo Messi's got about 30 of those, of that exact goal. Halfway line against fitter, better athletes. I would imagine what the drinking culture was like in that England team. So not the fittest people. So let me just tell you, Leo Messi, that Maradona goal, everybody goes, my God, what a goal against England. My God. And incredible performance. And he really carried Argentina to the World Cup by himself. But Leo Messi's got 30 of those goals in his career. So Jesse, I think you make a great point about the pitches, but I just think it's not comparable now. Everybody's got cash. Everybody's spending. Science makes people better. The research makes it better. It lifts the standards across the board. And essentially, it is tougher to win now more than ever. The greats will always rise to the top, though. Platini rose to the top. Zidane rose to the top back then. Michael Matambo says, if Pep wins the Champions League, does he rescue his team season? That is such a great question. That is such a great question. Michael Matambo, I have to say no. I have to say no, because it's not good enough to be that far off the pace, considering what you've done. Personally, I have to say no, because they've actually been quite embarrassing this season. But I just want to say this. I've said it before. Winning's not an easy business. And I hope we've got Liverpool fans watching. I've always said, go and look at how the Premier League cycles of winning works. There's only been one man who's able to win 3 times in the league. Liverpool fans, I know you think, oh, we're going to win it again. What I said to Liverpool fans, I believe 2 seasons ago when you came second was actually a better season than last season in terms of performance. So Liverpool have really had their 2 seasons of winning the league. And my point is to say, Everybody thinks these things last forever. They don't. They really work in 2 season cycles, and then you crash off. It's because winning is an ugly business. So don't think you see the Liverpool manager and Pep out there, the guys are enjoying themselves. Psychologically, it grinds. The players, when you have expectations, in any environment where there's high expectations, it grinds you. It grinds the environment. It wears people mentally. You've seen Pep had to take a sabbatical twice. After, that Bayern situation, and then after Barcelona. So does he rescue the season? I think, objectively speaking, you have to say no, because it's not like they haven't invested. It's like they're in a squad. It was the end of their cycle, but it's still not good enough because they did refresh. They did refresh. They got Rodri at holding mid, and once again, I can't say the injured thing for Neymar and then say, oh, the guys that got injured, Laporte and stuff. Listen, Pep, that's part of being a manager, right? That's part of being a manager. Your guys are injured. That's on you. I don't want to hear the excuses. You got enough resources. I have to say no. I don't believe it does. It's not good enough to be that far off Liverpool. It's just not good enough. It's not good enough to not go and compete in the FA Cup. No, sir. That's not going to work for me. So I would say, especially by his standards, absolute failure, right? By his standards, I know he weren't great on a curve. So no, it's if he wins the Champions League, I would say 6 out of 10 season, which is nowhere near good enough. Senzo Satebe says, San Antonio Spurs failed to make playoffs for the first time in 23 years. Time for Greg Popovich to go. End of an era. Incredible question. Here's my thing about the Spurs. And we've just seen 2 of the greatest English teams, probably of the modern era, make this mistake. You have to be absolutely certain of who will replace him. Because the thing about Popovich is he's the godfather there. He's built 2 dynasties. He's just lost in Tim Duncan, the leader of all leaders, right? Tim Duncan is what I think every sports coach would love. You're the best player, right? And we hear from you with nonsense. You're just wearing baggy jeans all the time. By the way, if you haven't seen Tim Duncan's dress sense, hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. For me, not the end of an era. Pop still looks fresh. I think he's got 4 or 5 years. What is crucial for the Spurs, whoever's next, give it 2 or 3 years, prepare ahead, right? Because the next guy is going to have to come in and have absolute power. And we saw what happened at United and Arsenal. They're the best examples. Is that the managers that followed, the club hadn't prepared for them. The only one that prepared really well and showed you how to do it is Man City. As I say, if you go back to the cycle just before Man City took over, look what they did with the board. They got all the ex-Barcelona guys that Pep was successful with. They brought them in. They said, okay, we're ready for this. Pellegrini was really a lame duck for that season. He could have, honestly, Pellegrini could have done the treble and he was gone. That's how to do it. Is with Pop, is they're going to have to say to Pop, listen, we're going to have to get rid of your team, everybody around you. The next guy, probably the year before Pop goes, because the Spurs aren't winning anything in the next 2-3 years. Between you and me, let's be honest. No, maybe even the next 5 years, because they got a little something brewing. They got a little something brewing, I think, at the Clippers. I think LeBron might have 2 more years where we go wins this year, wins next year, deuces. I'm out. And then I think the Clippers, that's going to be a problem for people. So San Antonio, better be careful. I don't think end of an era. I think Pop's probably got 1 more cycle in him, Senzo. I probably think Pop's got 1 more cycle. And, guys like him, they don't want to go out like that. Remember, I just want to say this one more thing, is when you're that great, I'll use an Alex Ferguson example. Remember when Fergie lost that in the previous season, and there were rumors that he was going to retire and all of that nonsense? That was kind of the Aguero season. And when they lost the next season to Real Madrid in the Champions League, remember how mad he was? But he came back, won the league. Is Fergie wasn't going to go out as a loser. Yeah, like those guys don't go out as losers. So Pop, I think, will put it together 1 more time. He said, he'll probably listen, 4 years, let's run this thing again. In 4 years, if I haven't won, peace out. It's been wonderful. I think there's 1 more cycle. So I don't think end of an era, not for somebody like that. He won't go out this way. They've been horrendous for the last 2 or 3 years. But love Popovich, by the way. He is, wow, he does not give a damn what anybody thinks. He does not give a damn. I love Popovich. If you haven't heard him, he's the Bill Belichick in terms of his attitude of the NBA. Wayne Muller says, do Chelsea's attacking signings move the needle for Lampard? I think they do. You know, everybody wants to criticize the Chelsea defense, but I think what happens in football, and I think we all know this, is when you're able to hang onto the ball with a certain quality, and I think you see it with all the great teams, Liverpool in particular in the Premier League, and City when they're at their best, right? Is Chelsea with that quality, is they're going to be able to hang on to the ball a little bit more. So what it means is all of those centre-backs, and you see it with Liverpool, Gomez and VVD, is that more than actually defending, they're rather sweeping things up and intercepting more than doing actual defending. So I think it moves the needle in terms of the team's going to go from probably a 48% possession team to, with Ziyech, Werner, right now Pulisic has quality help. So now he's knocking it really to just, I don't know, Mount, right? He's knocking it to Werner, right? It's going to Ziyech. Havertz if he comes in. Now the quality, and what that does is mean the whole back four, what happens is we step 10 yards up. We know in football what you're trying to do. I've given this boring lesson before. You try and make the pitch small. They play to your pace. And Chelsea will probably become a 55% possession team, and they'll have an edge at the finishing side because Werner's proper, right? He's the cutting edge. So the expectation for Lampard, I'm afraid, next season, anything outside the top two is disappointing. I have to be honest. If you can come top four with no signings and Hazard gone, so I think the defense will naturally improve in the whole. So it certainly moves the needle, in my opinion. And it doesn't just move the needle for him in terms of, are they a better team? It ratchets up the sort of intensity on Lampard and the seat gets warmer. But I'd say he'll definitely have this season as not a free hit, but certainly to say, all right, let's embed the kids. The Chelsea core will stay, but top two is an expectation for next season. Roman Abramovich doesn't play all that. And then Marina and co will expect a title the next season. So this next season, I think solidify, but top two is the target. Anything less than that, no good. Moves the needle. Chelsea, I expect to compete and be top three at worst, but top twos, it's a must now with that type of spending. If you could come tied third with what you had. Folks, it's been incredible. We're going to wrap up with this last question to everybody who sent questions. Remember, if you'd like to make comments, send us your videos. sport@cliffcentral.com. Right? Absolutely love to have you guys. The comment of the week comes again from Jesse Randolph, 2 weeks in a row. He says, Ozil was our record signing at the time. He was supposed to lead us to a title. That season when Leicester won was supposed to be our season. But our club let us down by only signing Czech. Jesse, how do you feel about Willian? At breakfast saying they're becoming our Chelsea's retirement league. All right? Arsenal are basically becoming Chelsea's retirement club. What is going on there? It's not Czech, it's David Luiz, it's Willian. I totally agree with you, by the way. It's what I said. Arsene Wenger, because he was so mediocre for so long, is, if you want to be a lion, you got to keep your claws and your teeth sharp. Wenger became, and when he said, for me, the worrying moment for an Arsenal fan, when the words left his mouth that the top four is a trophy, whether he meant it and it was taken out of context or not, what it told you was that he wasn't that dog anymore. He wasn't that dog. And Wenger was so mediocre by the time things had turned and so any quality came his way. He wasn't that alpha anymore. He'd been worn away. His expectations. Listen, your expectations will determine your outcomes. So I think there's a combination of you didn't have the manager. You didn't have the manager. Ozil was unbelievable at Real Madrid and he couldn't drive Arsenal. But I think far more holding you back. I really believe this. It makes me sad to say it. It had been a decade of mediocrity, and that was accepted at Arsenal. So more than Ozil, I would probably look the way of Arsene Wenger. But I hear you. Ozil's been hugely disappointing at Arsenal. It's so sad. And once again, No excuses. Mesut Ozil, if you're the guy, we need you when it's tough, not when it's easy for you. Mesut Ozil, it's actually, let's be honest, it's been really embarrassing. It's been embarrassing for Mesut Ozil. And if he's not embarrassed, hey, listen, get your money, brother. But as a footballer, you want to be the alpha dog. There's no greater thing as a sportsman. Even if you play university sport, whatever, school sport, there's no better stuff than when, number one, your fellow colleagues love you, but when the fans love you. And Mesut Ozil has let the Arsenal fans down, and worst of all, let himself down. So I totally agree. Jesse Randolph, comment of the week. I absolutely love that take. To all who send questions, absolutely brilliant. Different ball game, by the way, brought to you, of course, Cliff Central, along with Big Shot Media, changing the landscape of how we do sport. Africa is here. We are doing it in the 21st century now, ladies and gentlemen. If you have joined us, remember, like, share, subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. It has been an absolute crackerjack week. Next week, we'll have more guests. We'll be back on the guests next week. Some really, really exciting guests coming through. For this weekend, though, enjoy. If you support second-tier football teams, enjoy the Europa League. If you enjoy basketball, watch the NBA. Dame Lillard doing his thing. If you love cricket, join us as we watch England, Pakistan. Man, I'm glad sport is back. And am I glad to be a part of a different ball game and changing the sports content game in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, for this week, I am MKT. It has been a different ball game. Peace, love, happiness.